Now, a few weeks ago, I sat down with one of the nation's favourite broadcasters, and we managed to cover everything from family to faith and accepting doubt to bringing up daughters. And we started with an easy one. What makes us human?
Jeremy Vine here on BBC Radio 2.
From Newsnight and Panorama to the election night swingometer, Jeremy Vine has had his finger on the political pulse for over 30 years.
You can argue that you didn't create the mess, but you haven't got us out of it, have you?
A microphone picked you up saying that was a very bigoted woman. Is that what you said?
And he's now one of the busiest people in the business, with daily shows on TV and radio. Jeremy, you've reported from all around the world, you've spoken to leading political figures, and you've been doing your Radio 2 show for it's 18 years now, isn't it?
I think it is.
Gosh.
I mean, January the 6th, 2003, I started by playing Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen.
Why is it so special? You obviously enjoy it.
I think it's probably the medium. I think something about the intimacy of radio. I don't know what it is, you just know.
In 2013, you started a segment of the show called What Makes Us Human. You've had over 100 guests on the show, and it's inspired you to write a book. And I was really intrigued to see some of the answers. I mean, are there any that stand out for you?
What's really amazing is that their answers have been so varied. Sebastian Coe, I thought, would say running, and he said jazz. David Putnam, I thought, would say movies, and he said the Olympics. I suppose I expected Caitlin Moran to say joy. There was Vince Cable, the politician, said dancing. I suppose there's a part of me that wants someone to say it's being silly. Because I don't know if animals are silly. I think humans' ability to be really silly is very important, like an outlet.
You were brought up in a Christian family. How's your relationship been with faith over the years?
For me, I've never had that sustained fire in my soul that my parents had for so long. I mean, they never compromised with the world at all. And I sort of feel the lack of the absolute gimlet-eyed conviction. But I believe in it all. I used to think that people who had the most faith were the most certain, and people who had the most doubt were the most ignorant. And I now switched it around. I think ignorance and certainty quite often go together, and doubt and faith go together, and doubt is nothing to be ashamed of.
So doubt's an important part of your faith.
Questioning it.
And what do you doubt and what are you certain about?
The biggest problem with the Christian faith, it seems to me, is the exclusivity of Christ, where he says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. And by the way, I have all the Bible quotes because I was brought up in this incredible Christian household. Oh my goodness, don't get me started. So I suppose where I solve these problems is being incredibly subjective and just reading the Gospels and looking at the person of Christ and thinking that religion is probably not a set of rules, but a relationship.
Just thinking about your career as a journalist, you've been to war zones, you've spoken to tyrants. I'm thinking really about Robert Mugabe. My mother was from Zimbabwe, so I've sort of followed how he clung on to power. When you meet someone like that, can you sort of recognise evil straight away?
I wish it was that simple. I remember doing quite a lot of reporting from Zimbabwe.
So this is the late 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, late 90s. So Mugabe is Zimbabwean president. And I was shocked because he was so nice. And I already knew he'd been responsible for massacres and for various repressions. But he was so nice. And he wanted to know the name of the producer, and he talked to her, and what was her interest, and it was amateur Shakespeare. Which one? Hamlet. Oh, I love Hamlet. And he started quoting lines. So he was so urbane and civilized and cultured. And I left the office thinking, it's not going to be a problem here. You know, he's not going to do what people say he's going to do. And 2 years later, sure enough, I was proved completely wrong. And I think, you know, misjudging things is what journalists tend to do quite a lot.
You're a father to Martha and Anna, with your wife, Rachel, who I know, who I used to work with on the news channel. Has fatherhood changed who you are in any way?
Oh, yeah, hugely. I think the first thing it shows you is you're not the most important person anymore. We've got a pecking order in my family. It's basically Rachel, then it's Martha and Anna, second equal, and then in third and fourth place, it's our two cats, and I'm fifth. I mean, there's no question.
You're going to say an animal in there.
Yeah, there's always I mean, and if we had a secret ballot or anything, that's how it would come out, and I'd probably vote for that order as well. So, and there's no doubt. And also the amazing thing, I think the kids bring you up. It's not the other way around. My parents, bless them, they were quite strict. And in the 70s and 80s, they were blown away by the fact they got a son who thought the Sex Pistols were brilliant. I mean, they thought even the name of the band was disgusting. And the fact their first song, called The Queen of Fascist, was like absolutely, and Jeremy likes them, you know. And now I realise, partly having learned from them, just don't fight stuff like that. Don't sweat the small stuff like that. And so, but the funny thing is now, you know, when I was a teenager, I would put on the Human League really loudly, and my mum would say, turn that racket down. Now I put them on really loudly, and it's my daughters who shout, turn that racket down, Dad. So, yeah, but you realise you just have unending love for them. I want to protect them from everything. I said, no boyfriends until you're in your 30s.
Good luck with
yeah,
that.
No.
Jeremy, it's really good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And Jeremy's book, What Makes Us Human, is out now. I laughed all the way through that interview. He is a brilliant guy to talk to.
He's amazing. If you're looking for poetic inspiration, you might be interested in our next guest.